Greetings. Thanks for having me here today. I'm Jim Channon, another crew member on Spaceship Earth, and I work in the navigation department, and basically I work for the planet. I have been extremely interested in the future the whole time. I have talked to perhaps 2,000 leaders over a 20 to 30 year span. And I started looking at the future at the 100-year level out with 80 of the arguably the brightest people on the planet at the World Business Academy. So moving then from the view 80 years out, where we found some pure magic actually, I have now moved back to this place where we are presently in time, and I can give you some perspectives on 2012 that are in and around that idea, that whole idea. So the pure magic that came for working 8 years with bright people on the planet was that, and this was from Robert Mueller, who made 6,000 positive ideas for the future about the planet. One big idea, paradigm shift. The planet is qualified to be paradise. The planet herself has everything we could possibly imagine as artists and good hearts to become paradise. So that's where we can go this century. And what you find out when you aim at something like paradise is that you have to have this new and powerfully intimate relationship with nature, who turns out to have a better R&D system than we do. And you have to get sustainable to start with. So it's not like we have to get sustainable back up in order to go forward. No, getting sustainable, loving the earth, finding out what earth is, finding out what water is, finding out what wind does, is the first step to paradise. And we work our way up from there. Beautiful opportunity. We have a whole 100 years to get there. 1900, we decided we couldn't fly, and we were really happy to go faster than a horse. But you got a ticket if you went faster than a horse. But by using the capacity builder called manufacturing, by the end of the century, we were going Mach 14 around Mars. So our capacity to lift ourselves, move ourselves forward, and go great distances was our gift to the planet in the last century. And by the way, let us thank those technologists, those blue-collar guys and girls who put the things together that connected the planet Earth. We are connected as a civilization. We have arguably been a civilization for 30 years. I can say that because if you say, is there planetary music? The answer is yeah. Is there global food? Yeah. Are there global movie stars? Yeah. Are there global sports stars? Yeah. The culture of the planet is as real to all of us now as any of the cultures of the original nations was real to us. But nobody has announced that we're a civilization because they're not sitting at the right level to announce it. And by the way, governments are not too excited about announcing something bigger than they are. So here we are, a connected civilization, looking for something as big as what we did in the last century, which was to connect the planet. And that something is to go for paradise. Paradise, not only in the ways you can imagine it physically. I mean, paradise is partly a great landscaping job, but on top of the landscaping job comes a bubble of resonance in certain frequencies created by light and color and sound and magical containers and fresh nature that produces the euphoric feeling that goes along with just sitting in a beautiful place. And those bubbles of resonance are the promise of paradise. We will build them just as we built bridges and train tracks and all that stuff in the last century. So we now know in a century, if we build the capacity to reconnect with nature at a big level, we can actually get to the place called paradise. We are gods in training. We live in miracle bodies. And if we change our mind just a little bit, nature will be happy to join us in discovering paradise. She's fully ready. At 3 trillion processes a second in this body, it's ready. We just have to change our mind about where we want to go. So the gift of the next century is to go as an entire planet together to paradise. Lovely trip, I hope. Great journey. Won't be perfect in the beginning. Never is. That's how life is. So what about 2012? Well, here's a situation where if you look at 4 or 5 or 6 of the major deep traditions on the planet, they say this is the end of an age. So we are perhaps galactic beings, and we shoot down and join the planet for a certain period of time, forgetting who we were, so that we can play out yet another drama. But guess what? Now, what started as Adam and Eve is now a joined planet. It's reached its pregnancy. It's now birthing as a civilization. That's the time for all of the departed souls from planet Earth, the ancestors, sometimes called extraterrestrials, to return, celebrate the final maturity of the planet, be with us in spirit, and probably not too much technology so it won't inhibit our consciousness and whatnot. But it just could be that in 2012 there'll be a party, and it will be the end of an age. And it will signal that it's time to do something new. Most of the institutions on the planet we invented, and they've now forgotten that we invented them. So it's time for them, and us especially, to remember we can repurpose every one of those particular institutions and move on to a new world.